Yeah, I'll wait for people to come in and give the intro. Gotcha. All right. I'm showing 7:01 on my clock. I'll just give people another minute. I know that we have a few people joining via Zoom, a few people from YouTube Live. So I'm just gonna let this everyone get another minute to hop on. But FlatWhite, are you ready? Whenever I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome.
It's just we don't have much people. Like I'm seeing that the guest list is just one person.
Yeah, I'm not checking the YouTube Live account, the YouTube Live count now, but I'm sure people keep trickling in. But yeah, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and give the intro and we can get started. So I will do that now. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this EBC seminar on making decisions with the Market Analyzer tool. I am Axie Oasis, and today I'm going to be talking with FlatWhite, the creator and developer behind the Market Analyzer tool. We're going to be going through with you tonight everything that you need to know about the tool, some basics, go through a couple of use cases, why we believe it's so valuable here at the EBC and one of our staple product offerings. So I will introduce FlatWhite, and then we're going to kind of head through the Market Analyzer tool. So FlatWhite, are you there? Maybe you want to just, I think you're sharing your screen already.
Yes.
With the landing page. So maybe just talk a little bit about, the creation of this tool, and if you just purchased an EBC membership or you're considering purchasing an EBC membership, and this is the tool that we're all landing on, why is it so valuable? Why was it created? What does it do? Maybe just give a real quick high level overview for us.
Sure. So hello everyone. I'm FlatWhite, and so basically the reason behind this tool, I'm new to the Axie myself, so probably I'm here for a month and a half or so. So when I joined, the first challenge that I saw is basically a pricing discovery. So when you are new to this marketplace, when you log in into this and you search for the axes, you don't really know what's the valuable axes are, how much they cost, and what actually if you're willing to breed, what should you buy, or even if you just want to play the game, is this price that you're looking at is actually a fair price for this particular axie, right? So I came up with the tool that allows you to see the price history of what was actually this particular axie was sold for, so you can track back the history of the sales and as well as volume. So the main purpose of this tool is basically a price discovery, and the secondary use for it, for me at least when I started, is to actually was to figure out what is the build, what is the common build, or what is the current meta. Because even without knowing the game, with this tool you can actually fairly quickly can tell what is popular and what people are actually using for play, because of basically, if you track the volume, you can tell what's popular, right? So if you see some particular build have a large volume, that means people are using it, right? And then it's
so maybe we can actually just go through that live, and looking at the filters and talking through all the different aspects. There's a lot on this page. When you first land here, what's the first place to go? What are you clicking? And like you said, if you're discovering, okay, what axes are trading, what's got high volume, what demands a high price out in the marketplace. If you were a breeder, you obviously would want to know that. but if you're a purchaser as well, right? You're just trying to build out a good PvP team for yourself or for your scholars, anything like that. What would you do? What boxes would you check? How would you adjust everything on this first page?
Sure, yeah. So let me guide you through the whole page. There is already one YouTube video that I did, which is covering pretty much that, but I will repeat it again. Maybe people will have questions, so I can answer this later on live. But yeah, so basically on the top, you have your date range that you're looking for. So that will pre-select something within this date range only. Then you have a gene, which is a gene quality for the D gene, right? So you can have a look at this, and we're currently using EBC score based gene quality, so that differs from the the standard gene quality that we check with the plugin. What's the name?
Yeah, the EBC score basically takes into account essentially advantageous recessives or things that aren't hurtful, correct?
Yes. So sometimes, like if your aqua in eyes has bird, it's still considered fine
because it doesn't affect the speed, which is what most people care about.
Yeah. So sometimes, like that gene quality score here is the standard one, will show you 93, but the B score will show you 92, just because that probably eye or ear, which does not match well with that class. So that's 1 point reduced from that, right? So gotcha. Or other way around sometimes.
Yeah.
So makes sense. So on the top you have those genes. You have also the number of breeds. This is pretty much very close to what you have on the standard marketplace, the filters. And here you have your option to select either you want to see the history for the sold prices or actually what just the listing prices was there. And normally I would recommend to use sold prices because this is most accurate representation of the market, the current market conditions. Like this is what the people really paid for that.
Because those are executed
yes.
sales rather than just current listings. Because something could be listed on the market, but it could be way off of the historical transaction.
Yes, and you may see sometimes the average for listings is way higher than like here. It's $1,500 versus $365. It's just because somebody listed an Axie for $100,000,
right?
And it just skews your averages. It doesn't mean it will sell. All right, so then you have class in here, and you have D1 purity in here. So that means we're looking at aquas that have all 6 parts in D gene that belongs to aqua class, right?
Yep.
So that basic section here, and it will present you all these axes. And here is the full list, basically 11,000 axes
of all the pairs. Yep.
Yes, and in the table you can also like right click. I'm recommending doing right click, and I will explain later why. And do you like open a new tab so you can see it will open the actual listing, right?
And so that links right to the marketplace.
The marketplace, and then so you have your Axie number, your USD price, ETH price, gene quality, which is the standard gene quality all people use, and then you have the EBC score here next to it. We slowly kind of removing the gene quality, but for now, so people can have a comparison, have a feel of it. We have both now, so you can just compare what's the difference and why is there a difference. Then you have a C grade, and C grade is something that I came up with. It's a consistency grade, and that means how much your R genes are different from D. So how many matches you have. Let's say, okay, but let's give an example. For example, here it's 42. So it's 2 digits. It's a composite number. It's not really a 42 as a number. It's a 4 and 2 digits. And first 4 means that R1 genes are matching the D genes. 4 out of 6. Well, I'm not taking into account eyes and ears at the moment. So it's always maximum 4. So it's all genes that in D are matching genes in R1. And then 2 is genes R2. So 2 out of 4 these genes are matching D genes.
Right? R2, so, gotcha.
So if you see 44 in here, that means it's a pure printer. It's all the genes in D, R1 and R2 are matching. So they're all exactly the same.
Gotcha.
Right? So then
Higher
you
is
have,
better. Higher is better. Better pure, better.
well, it's not necessarily, if you're looking for breeding, yes. But if you just want an Axie that is for your play, for game, right? For you don't really care about the consistency. You just need your D genes. So then we have these 4 sections that presents the parts of the axis, right? And this one is where it gets a little bit more advanced and tricky to explain. So what you can do here, you can actually do a multi-select. And on the bottom here on the x-axis, you have your parts, like your cards, basically, for the mouse, horn, tail, and back. And the blue bars are volume. So that's the amount of axes that have risky fish within this date range, within this gene range, right? So this is all comes together here. This is the amount. So we had in 7 days, we had sold 8,057 axes that have risky fish.
Got it.
Those are aquatic, D1 purity 6. So all this kind of taken in consideration, right? So then what you can do, you can right away, just by looking at this picture and see the volume, you can see what is the common build. So basically whatever is on the most left part of each part is the most popular. So if you just select this is your very common aqua build, risky fish, Nima, goldfish, shoal star. This is probably the most common of any build. Like this is just a well known, everybody knows that.
Yep.
So what you can do, so now, like as you can see, I can do, I can hold control and I can click a name of the part. And if I will continue holding it and click another one, it will do the multi-select. And what it does effectively, so once I'm selecting just the first part, it's excluding, if you think of the axis, right, it has 4 parts. So now it's excluding all the axes that don't have risky fish and keep only those ones that have in combination, right? So it's like every axis in this number in 8,057 will have risky fish and something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So once I'm holding control and I'm clicking Nemo here, see these graphs below changed. It's just because it subtracted everything that didn't have Nemo and risky fish. Right, so now you have 3,900 axes that have risky fish and Nemo and something else in there. Right, so like I'm kind of just drilling down and reducing the amount, I'm sifting through. So then I'm selecting, let's say, randa. That means you're reducing the number because you're now looking at only axes that have randa, risky fish, Nemo, and now I pick goldfish. And that means I'm now looking at a particular build only. So for that particular build, there's 4 parts selected, you have 718 axes sold, and this is their price history. I just recently changed it to reflect actually ETH price that many people asked to do a switch from USD to ETH. So now the graph shows the ETH. You have your USD as well here, but the graphs now represent ETH, right? So you can reference here. And yeah, so now you can actually see what the average price, and normally I'm narrowing down the dates, so you can like see what's the most recent price, and you can see that the price is dropping a little bit. And you can sort by either dollar amount or ETH amount or gene quality, by scores or by SIGA, it doesn't matter, like over date. But normally at this point, when you found something and you're willing to buy, like let's say you're looking for a printer, right? And you can do this in real time. The selection is still here, but now we're looking at 44 grade, and only 3 axes were sold like this, or at least in this example.
Right.
And the price was $450, $680, and $700. Because of it's just only 3. It's hard to say about the averages, right? But it also gives you, but in reality, it gives you at least a ballpark. And if you see something now live listed, because this is a sold, those are already gone. But if you go into the marketplace and you find the Axie that listed, for example, at $1,000, you know that those are overpriced. You probably shouldn't buy it. You should wait. And
because you can point to this and say, this is where this Axie was executed. And you don't need to be doing this, with, Aqua printers. You can apply this same filter to any Axie that you are looking for or interested in.
Yeah. So and that you have to wait just because looking at this, there was only 3 sales in 2 days, right? So they're not coming up that often. So you'll have to wait, right? If you look at more common builds, let's say it's a risky fish, all-star, Neiman, goldfish, you have 113 printers sold over this period of time, and that's much more, the prices are varied, and you have something to pick from. But the average is $500, so you can tell, okay, so if something goes below 500, it's probably a good price. Whatever is higher than 500, you can also discount for outliers because no one sells for 280, right?
Right.
But you have an idea then that's probably for 50, $500. If you see something, that's good average price. If you're flipping, well, yeah, you can actually tell that you can pick up a deal for $300, maybe, sometimes, and resell it for 500.
There you go.
So you just know that could be a good flip if you see that price. And printers normally, that's the only, because they're relatively rare, that's where you see the price fluctuate a lot. You can see that range from $300 to $600 pretty much for the same Axie.
Yep. No, absolutely. Maybe we can go through one example where we look at kind of more hybrid, type Axies where we've got, more unique.
Wait, we have to mute someone, I guess. Someone is.
No, it wasn't me. I was making sure it wasn't.
Okay.
No, yeah, that wasn't me talking. So, yeah, I think we're okay now. Yeah, what I was saying was, how about we look at something that's more like hybrid? So maybe if we drop that D1, purity.
Yeah,
so that we can look at some hybrids.
Yeah, so people actually often forget that they're filtering only on the 6 purity and they miss on all this hybrid kind of builds. So make sure that if you're looking for something.
I have a question. Now you're looking for Axies that have 5 and 6 purity, or only 5?
So it's a range, right? So now it's 5 to 6. If you want only 5, just move the right side.
Thanks.
So it's 5 to 5 now, and now you have much more.
Right, all the different parts.
All the different parts in here.
Yeah, so maybe for example, because we're on aquas, maybe what are the Nemo aquas, with some bug or beast damage? Maybe we can take a look at how many of those have traded, what they've traded at. So if you highlighted just Nemo, right, all these graphs will become interactive. So now we've got this.
So let me explain what the yellow line is.
Yeah.
So I explained what the blue is, just a volume, a quantity that is available, right? And it's automatically adjusts. As I said, it's reducing the number because we selected something already. But the yellow line is actually shows you the relative price of that part. So the higher the yellow line, the more expensive this card is in relation to what you in your selection, basically, right? Out of this 2,900 Axies that have Nemo, all these combinations of cards, what are the most expensive ones in here? So I can tell, it's not necessary because the build is good, because it could be just a single card like this. If you pick something like that, you can tell average price is fairly high, but it's only 34.
What is that? I can't see it. Is it Goda? Is that what I'm saying?
Yes, I picked Goda.
Yeah.
and then it can tell you what is pretty much possible builds just by volume. So anemone, probably double anemone with Goda would be a build that sells pretty much, because you can see the price and what it tells you people are actually willing to pay, like $600. It's not that popular, but if you see people pay $600, it's probably worth that, right? It's not.
And that's how many? That's nine axes in how many days? 2 days?
Yeah, it's in 2 days. But this is just an example, right? Not everything is very popular. Maybe someone building some teams for particular purpose. I'm not sure, but just by telling that people buy at this price, I can tell that they use it for something. And you can,
I think that's really important just to show off, like from the tool. I don't know if you can kind of go back a step, like from the filters, if you back through it, but being able to go through the tool and see, everyone knows probably, or most people that are using, a hybrid aqua on the midline, or you could use this for any axie, but what are the most valuable, kind of hybrid axes out there? And you say, okay, Nemo is a staple of this build, or you could come up with a staple for any other build, right? A koi backline aqua,
yeah, pretty much
something
koi,
like that.
Koi as well, because the large volume you can see here, but they are much cheaper. I can tell you without even looking at this, just because the yellow line is below. Let's just have an example. So $810. If I will unclick this and click this, first of all, there is nothing sold.
Yeah, because you still have the Goda and all the other stuff on.
Yeah, so it's only one card, only one axie was sold over like long. Well, it's just not a build, right? But the price is $284. Just like because I had a look at the yellow and I know that this is not a good choice, anyways.
I just think it's really interesting to see. It's another way to like kind of filter for, maybe not filtering for, meta builds, but what people are willing to pay for out in the market. Obviously, you got to pair that with volume and take all the other things into consideration. But, the tool is just like a great visualization as you're looking through that stuff.
It's as I said, it's a price discovery tool, and you have to play with it to understand better. Because what I did now was just for like showing the functionality, but you probably want to, like, once you look at this, and if you are a breeder, it depends what you want to achieve, right? If you're a breeder, you probably don't want to look at 80%, so you have to move the slider here, and it will drastically change the picture, right? So now you can see, so for breeding, there is only that much that is available or popular or actually sells, right? So 99, like it gives you the idea of ballpark of what sells well. But also the problem is that the purity is 5, so it cannot be 97 because it's very, very like a corner case, right? When you have overall gene quality 97, but your D purity is 5, not 6.
Right.
So it has to be out of your experience, so you don't, like, you're not going to extremes like this, but pretty much if it's a 5 purity, have a look at what's normally the axie would have a gene quality like, because as a breeder, you want to have as pure genes as possible to you, right? So you can say, okay, something like that. But as a secondary filter, you always want to have a C grade, right? Be something around that like gives you this consistency over your R1 and R2 genes. So I would normally start looking something like this, like from 30s to 44. So that means I have at least, or actually vice versa, I have at least 4 matches in R1. So that means I'm matching all the D genes, and
my R1s.
And R2s might have some variety. It's up to your preferences. But
excuse me, what's the C grade?
So C grade is the number. It's actually 2 numbers. It's like in here, as you can see, it's 4 and 2, for example, and that represents the number of matches on R1 versus D and R2 versus D. So 4 means you have exactly 4 matches that much DG. So it's like if your D is risky fish, shoal star, Nemo, and goldfish, your R1 is exactly the same: risky fish, Nemo, goldfish, and shoal star. 2 is the R2 genes match versus D. So 2 means you probably have either risky fish or goldfish and something else then, or Nemo and shoal star. So 2 out of 4 will match your D, right? So 4 means you have consistency across R1 and R2. It's exactly the same as D. So it's pure printer. Does it make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So just a quick
question.
way to look at that. Yeah, go ahead.
So you have like average listed price. Do you have data kind of in the back end to show maybe like net listings for our build per day or something like that? So we can kind of see, we have prices sold, but we don't know like how many are on the market.
So you can, well, we can bring this number up, but you also can see that with just this number here, like for this particular day. Oh, that's probably a bad example.
So we just change it from sold prices, that selector, to.
No, so I'm just resetting everything because we had too many variables in there. So for the risky fish, shoal star, goldfish, and Nemo, for today, at least for today, up until this time or whatever was the last refresh, you had 114 sold. That much in your search criteria. So if you're looking for printers, that would be something like that. And yeah, today is probably a bad example of it because the marketplace was half a day down or something, right? So there is not much sales. And normally, like the pure printers are not selling that much. So that number is close. Like if you can go maybe to a couple of days ago, it's like 36. So it's not that many, even for the most popular builds. It's just because not many people are actually buying printers for breeding. It doesn't really make much sense, just price-wise. And we can talk about this later on about what that means when I'm saying doesn't make sense.
I think the question was on historical data, though, which it sounds like you can get to by just changing the date range slider, correct?
Yes, you can, yeah, because it acts independently. So once you selected this, it stays there. You can move other sliders. Well,
so it's more around because this is Axie's, like, is this Axie sold in that Axie's found box?
Yes.
Yes.
That's Axie sold. So 160 was sold.
It would be good to know how many, I guess, were listed and just kind of just sitting in the market, right? Like if we have like a.
So for that, we will be working. We're working on the marketplace, which we will talk about a little bit later. That will give you the real-time listings, and we will link then this place to Analyzer, so you can search in the marketplace, and then once you found something, you can easily kind of switch or move to the Analyzer, pass all your filters into the Analyzer, so you will see the data about the Axie that you were looking on the marketplace.
Yeah, you're in the process of working with the newly integrated, Axie Legend tool, which is under the umbrella now too. So definitely.
Yeah, so there is this auction listing, but this one is not tracking either they were sold or not. So it's just the moment something pops up, we store it, but we never update it. We never reconcile it once it sells. So it's just to track for how much somebody listed this, and they can relist it, and that will appear as a second record in here. So sometimes we will see duplicates here. That means people just canceled and created it again, and we will have two records like this right here.
Because it just takes the snapshot of this type of build was listed as an auction sale on this day. That's the data point that the tool is grabbing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of what I was looking for, like, because it's valuable to see like how many of these are listed versus like sold. Yeah.
That place in
like
here,
by time.
Very soon we will have something that will allow you to do it here. So you'll see everything pretty much with the data showing you the genes, showing you will be able to filter pretty much the same way as we do in Analyzer. It just you will not have a history here, a price history, right? But you will see what's up for sale for this particular build that you're looking for. And for the history, you will have to go, there will be a button or something saying, for this axis that you applied filters here, right? I'm just saying, that, just quickly showing.
Yep.
There will be a button that you can say sync to Analyzer, right? And once you hit it, it will pop up the Analyzer with these parameters. So you can quickly check what was the price history. You can have a look at the C grades. The C grade will be there as well on the marketplace, but this is more for like, you know, to track the history to see what's the sales was and what was the average price or what was the maximum price, minimum price, whatever. So that's the main purpose of that one. Right.
Great. I see one. I just saw one a question that got asked in the chat that I'm just getting back to. The question was, I'm a breeder and like to start a new line, but would like to understand how much I can sell what I'm trying to breed versus the price for an axie that would get polluted with other traits. So this tool can definitely, you know, address that. You know, if you are looking at, you know, if you're looking at the traits and you have a sense of, hey, I've got, you know, if you're looking at a breeding simulator or something that has an output, what would this potentially sell for? Definitely something that I've done and how I've used the market analyzer is, okay, I know that I've got a 90% chance of these 3 or 4 things happening, and my outliers are going to be on my back or something. Like my back is probably the place where, or one of the genes is where it's going to be messed up. What would that potentially sell for? And that obviously impacts my thought process on what I would be breeding or anything like that. So, you know, FlatWhite was showing you can obviously filter by different pieces, right? You know, he walked through the idea of looking at historical prices of different combinations by axie body part. You could also look at it by purity, right? Like, so if you were a breeder and you were saying, okay, I'm breeding together 2, 98% pures, but what happens if I get, a 95% pure, going through the sliders here, you can go back and look and say, okay, here were the historical transactions, at that. So, this tool can obviously, address that, using historical transaction data to
we can go over this use case. So 2 aspects for breeding. First, you want to pick something that sells high, so you can, obviously have your return on investment because you pay for breeding, right? So you need something that covers that, and plus you have some margin, obviously. And the funny part is actually you can start, well, again, this is just use your imagination how you can approach this, but one of the things that you can do, just search something that has volume and has number of breeds that is higher than 4. It means that people who are breeding more than 4 times are actually getting lots of profits of it, or it makes sense to breed 5. That means that this is in demand and have probably higher value. Does it make sense? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, obviously you want to kind of have a look now at what it could be, and normally that again will lead you like to probably double anemones and stuff like that. But you can have a look this way at this and say, okay, that might be a good choice, like anemone, Nima, and lamb, because people do breed them more than 5 times, or 5 times at least, and you can see that because the 600 axes which are breed 5 times or more. Actually not. Sorry. Now it's 5 times or more, and it's almost 800. So you can even tell that actually some people are actually breeding these 6 times or more. So yeah, that might be interesting. The only thing is you also have to look at is the breeding ratio. So breeding ratio is basically a percentage that shows you how much your virgin cost versus for how much the breaded ones are sells for. So this 0.4 means the breaded one sells for 40% of the Axie price. So basically, if the Axie costs $1,000 virgin, the bread one is $400.
400.
And we're not taking into the account the amount of breeding, so it's more than zero. Basically, if that takes Axies that bred from 1 to 7, right, and takes the average, and then calculates the cost versus virgin price. And
So what do you FlatWhite, you want to see that higher, meaning that certain Axies retain
Yes.
their value despite the fact that you breed them out. It's a super
the higher the value,
highly valued build.
The higher the value, the more profit you make, because you pretty much, sell it close to the virgin price, and which is obviously will cover your breeding in most cases.
Gotcha.
I think
so
I was looking
on that point, because I think it's a really helpful and useful metric. Is that applied based on the filters that you added here? So if I wanted to see for like a 61 speed bird, right? Or like a fast aqua.
I don't think there is birds with 61 speed though.
Well, there's bird. You're looking at a
bird. Yeah.
Yes. So let's see what you have here. Yeah, again, so the most popular is the standard double talk, right? Which is expensive normally. Well, this is the bred one, so you have to actually always, if you want to see the breeding ratio, switch, make sure you have virgins in here. That will be then calculating these properly. So that's average. This average is over time though, so you also make sure that this is.
So this is basically running two queries. So it has the query that you've set here, which is 0 breeds. And then it's also doing one where it's just moving that breed filter up a little bit to say, breed between 1 and 7, taking the average of that, and then doing this ratio.
Yes, and then it plots the graph. So this ratio is actually over this period of time. So your actual ratio is something like 0.51. It's not much different, but it is like you keep in mind that 0.5 is across this timeline. So this is average, right? So if we put a line over here, that's probably the average of 0.5.
Is there a way to kind of like hunt for particular builds that have the highest breed ratio? Like aside from kind of going one by one, like.
Well, you can select. Okay, let's just reset everything. Select all.
Is high breed ratio necessarily good? Because like it could mean just that the virgins are really highly priced, right?
But then it also means that the non-virgins are similarly highly priced.
Yeah, so we can select everything here with control click again. So you will look at all these classes. It will mess up a little bit with the numbers, but for now, it will have to sift it a little bit through. So you want it like 6 and higher, for example. Right, so you can have that, and that you can reduce this as well, because you might look at the hybrids as well if you want to. You can reduce that because the hybrids may have. So yeah, and at this point you can have a look at the volume, right? And so I don't know, let's randomly pick something. Now leave back, and it will let you know. So the series, I would go this way. So I picked the leaf back, for example. It's not the most expensive though. The cactus for some reason is here is more expensive. What else here? And again, this is more like a discovery process, because you can end up with something that just has 2 sales at very high prices, and that's why it's here.
Yeah, maybe we could do like serious hot butt Pumpkin, yeah, cactus, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. So you have 133, and they were bred 6 times or more for some reason. The average price though is not that attractive. I don't know. That's for the bred ones.
And then if you bring this down to 0 breeds,
Yeah,
you know that there's a lot of volume, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty much like 4/4. This is somebody was breeding those, to 6 or 7, and then we're selling for $300, which is not bad. I mean, let's have a look. What was the virgin price for this? Well, on average,
It's not great.
well, the printers cost a lot. So
Right.
printers are 1,000 plus, right? And then everything else, which is not, it's not that good. I mean, if you bought the printer for $1,000 and then you have some impurity even like in your R2, it goes for $600. So it's not really interesting to breed those kind of things, even though it says breeding ratio is 0.7. It used to be, now it's 0.5, so it's dropping.
Wouldn't the breed ratio be ones with 4/4 C grade, but with at least one breed rather than like a 4/3?
Yeah, I think as a breeder, like when you breed, you always want to be compared to the printers, right? Because you use printers to make new axes, and then you sell them, so you will be in this range pretty much somewhere.
Yeah.
Right, and you will be using that. So that already gives you a little bit worse picture. So it's like 0.4, 0.36.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe like this would be like a feature request, but so we can do this. We can look at this for the serious hot bud pumpkin. I guess it's maybe carrot. But like, wouldn't it be pretty incredible to be able to just look across all of the different possible build combinations and then just filter by highest breed ratio with a certain amount of volume?
Well, so that's the thing, is the combinations are like a billions, right? Because there are.
Yeah, so you I don't know, limit it to certain volume, or certain volume, right? And maybe there's a way to calculate it where you like start with anemone and then you start adding some combos until it gets below a certain amount, and then you stop. You go to the next one.
Well, you sort of can achieve this process just if you do it in reverse, right? So if you let me reset everything again. So again, so this is sorted by volume, and the yellow line gives you the price. So for the aquas that are like 0 breeds and fairly pure, and the volume. So if like you just hover it, it will tell you how much was sold within this date range, right? So the viable builds here is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards, maybe 9 cards. So this combination of this 9, right? And then the most expensive ones, you can start from like, let's say, the higher volume. So you're like probably like Nemo, right? And then it will tell you, automatically what comes next. Like lamb here, because it's higher price and fairly relatively high volume. So you would pick lamb, and then you basically end up with
double
anemone.
Yeah.
Right, and that will give you that higher.
You're basically saying there's only a limited number.
Yeah. It's not that many actual working combinations, right? Normally 3, 4, maybe like whenever the eyes and ears will come up with the cards, then that will more like you'll have more combinations again that will work in the meta. But so far it's maybe how many builds we have that are people use.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was just gonna say I have one other question, if that's okay. So another one on like breed discovery would be like, if you could find out which breeds are increasing in price the fastest, and or which builds are increasing in price, and then which builds are increasing in volume, right? Because imagine if you could see, the dusk termy trend early, because you see it increasing and you jump on that.
Yeah, well, we have this page too, if anyone noticed, and that's something that we can actually extend that will track your builds and the price history, like volume and price, right? For this particular builds. Unfortunately, you cannot really save it for yourself. Like you cannot come up with your own, but we can have those. As I said, there is not that much that are popular builds. To detect the price for build, well, we can think about it.
Yeah, just food for thought. I don't mean to.
Yeah, probably we can come up with some algorithm that will, but yeah, that's not really an issue with this particular tool. It's more about how we store data. That's what I'm thinking now. It's more like a data structuring issue. But yeah,
exactly.
something that we can think about.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I don't see any other questions in the chat, and I don't know if anyone else on Zoom. I can't see anything on the YouTube Live, but if anyone else has any questions on Zoom, let me know. Otherwise, I think we're gonna try to wrap up here pretty soon.
This is great. Thanks for walking us through this. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thanks.
So thanks everyone for joining. This has been great to have FlatWhite come on and demo the tool, which you guys can get more information on at elitebreeders.club. Follow all the socials, find them on Discord. We also talked a little bit about the Axie Legend tool. I just want to let everyone know that tool is still going to be provided free of charge to the community. It's just the analyzer tool right now, access to that, which is going to be part of the Elite Breeders membership, and along with the Axie Legend tool, also been partnered with Axie Watch, which is the scholarship tracker as well. So there are going to be free to use resources still available, but everything we highlighted today in the marketplace analyzer is gonna require a pass. So check out the website for further details on that. And yeah, I think we're gonna sign off here. And thanks everyone for taking some time out of your Thursday night or Friday morning, depending on where you are in the world. So hope everyone has a good one, and we'll be back soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.